Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith for anybody who doesn't know that. it's good to it's good to talk to you this morning. I want to talk about fear monsters. They're out there. They're under your bed. But I'll talk about that in a minute. When I got up this morning. By the way, this morning I am drinking, you can't see it because you can't see through the cup. I'm drinking Jim Beam bourbon and vanilla coffee. And like I said last night on last night's, I said, why did no one invent this before, right? Oh, it's good. As you know, I'm testing different coffees, and I'm looking for a roaster um, to be the provider for a coffee that I'm thinking about putting out as a Stone Mott coffee, or several flavors, as a matter of fact. So I'm checking all sorts of different things and seeing what I like, because I want to know what I think you would like. Let me get you squared away here for just a second. I'm a little bit off center. I should build a studio, shouldn't I? uh, hey, I woke up this morning. We had weather. I know I'm getting off on several things here at once, but that's the way I do it because I have more in here than I can get out of my mouth. We had storms all last night, man. It was kicking up, and the rain's good. I just got a lot of planting done the other day. Have a lot more planting to do. I don't really plant the stuff. I have a lot of the cool weather stuff in, the early spring stuff. I don't put the peppers, tomatoes, things like that in until after about April 25th, because we still get freezes, or short freezes up until that time, and I've been fooled several times in the past. I'd be all excited, and I'd say, "Oh man, the weather looks good. The trees are budding already, and the peach trees and the apple trees, and they're great." And I'm gonna get started on it about April 15th, and then all of a sudden, about April 20th, we get a freeze, and I got to start all over again. So it's a lesson in patience, isn't it? Yeah. Well, so we had storms all last night, and it looks like the wind is kicking up again. I'm looking at my window here. So it should be an interesting day. It might be a day for indoor work. We will see. Well, I woke up this morning to a surprise of so many of you leaving comments on the video that I put up last night when I said this might be the last integrative preparedness video. And I worded that very carefully, as some of you realized. And because I'm not going to go through all this again, although I am going to touch on it probably with today's topic about the fear monsters. And I said that I've just become so disgusted with kind of what YouTube preparedness has devolved to, that it's nothing but fear porn and people trying to scare you every day about, World War III. Yeah, I know I said it yesterday, but this really is World War III, and the economy collapsing and all these. I just, ugh, I've had it up to here. And the thing that gets to me is a lot of people listen to these and believe it, and it really harms their lives. But anyway, I'm going to get off that. I don't want to be associated with that. I really don't. And so what I was thinking mainly was simply a name change for the channel, a change in name that would more, in my opinion, immediately promote the message that I try to get across, which is a message of positivism in your preparedness. That's why I wrote my books, to show how positive action and living right would help you continue a good quality life after the collapse of everything. Instead of all the negative, horrible things. We know horrible things can happen. We don't have to be, most people don't have to be reminded of it, but it's the attitude that you have that is, like they say, going to dictate the altitude you reach, right? So your attitude is so much. It all starts with mindset. After God, let God put the mindset in you, and you're going to be in good shape. So That's what I had said. By the way, if any of you have a recommendation or an idea of what might be a better name than integrative preparedness, let me know. I'd be happy to consider it. I named it that because integrative means something to me, but I think a lot of people are lost on it. It's not a catchy name. It's got too many syllables. People don't know what integrative means. I mean, seriously. And I named it that just because I've named other things, other businesses of mine, integrative. And I don't know. I don't know if it works here or not, but let me know. But anyway, when I said that it might be the last video for integrative preparedness, boy, I woke up this morning and I had so many comments from you all, and I won't read them because I don't want it to sound like I'm patting myself on the back. But you all were so complimentary. It really reminded. I guess I must be helping. Okay, that's always been my goal, is to help people. And I tell you, and I don't get on here just to spout off and listen to myself talk. I can do that out in the backyard, but um, it's nice to know that the channel matters, that you all have gotten something from it. I got so many uh, comments from people saying I've pretty much switched off all the other preparedness channels and I just watch you, or I look forward to your positive message every day, or it settles me down. Or there were several say I used to be caught up in all of the fear and everything like that until I came across you, and you've helped me to see things in a more positive light and God driven and all that. And so I guess maybe I am having, an effect that I want to have. And so I thank you all for letting me know that. That was a nice thing to wake up to. That was even better than my Jim Beam bourbon and vanilla coffee. So anyway, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep putting these things out because there has to be a voice of calm and of reason in a world that is driven by fear. It really is, and that's the preparedness world. When I first started this, and many years ago, a lot of preparedness channels really did talk about things having to do with preparedness, and now it's just gotten to the point that well, it's changed, and I think that's sad because there's a lot of people out there that really do need. A lot of people just getting into preparedness, and they don't need the fear. They need the guidance. So no, I'm not going anywhere. I just may be changing the name of the channel. So to that end, I would suggest that you make sure that you are subscribed. Okay, I never say this because you know, I I know it's probably the thing to do. Say, be sure you like. What do they say? Like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, all these kinds of things. Well, I would suggest you do that. Make sure that you are subscribed. And, people get unsubscribed all the time without them knowing it, automatically, the powers that be, who knows why. So make sure that you're subscribed. And hit the bell and hit the all. I think you get a choice of all or whatever. And just so that you get a little ding when I put a new one up. So that way, when the day comes that I do change the name, if I change the name, it'll still be me. It'll still be the same old stuff. Okay, it'll just be a different name that maybe better reflects the message of the channel. Am I making myself clear as mud? Also, I would ask that anybody out there, I ran across a channel that I kind of like. It's a positive channel, and it was an interesting one. And I'm going to put the link over on the Patreon side for everybody who is over there to look. So you can click on it. It was a very interesting one. It was somebody who has they made it through Hurricane Helene. I think they're in western North Carolina or eastern Tennessee. I don't remember which, but they were in the devastated part, and they were talking about the lessons, what they wish they had learned, or what you should do in the first 24 hours after a total collapse. And the interesting thing about this is that these were people who weren't necessarily prepared. But looking back on it, they saw their mistakes And the young lady who is talking about this does a good job just talking about it, and I think it would be well worth the listen. And most of you PMPs, which is, if you're new, PMPs is what I call people who are really prepared, preparedness-minded person. Okay, as opposed to just a prepper who, and I don't mean to put down preppers. You're on the right road. Okay, but once you get past the stocking and the stocking up and the beans, bullets, and band-aids and all that, once it becomes a lifestyle, then you're a preparedness-minded person. Okay, so a lot of the PMPs over on the Patreon channel, and you too, if you would see it, but you're not going to see it on YouTube, are going to go through it and say, yeah, she should have known that, she should have known that. But a lot of people are going to say, you know what, that's a good idea. I don't do that like I should. You know, good reminders. And I will also invite you, because I am always in search of positive channels. All right. Please don't leave your recommendations on YouTube. I'll take them off, because you might not realize that there are some channels that some people think are positive, and I don't, or I disagree with what they're saying, and so I'm not going to promote channels with whom I disagree. Simple as that. Doesn't mean they're bad people. Maybe they don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they're lying. Well, if they're lying, they're not good people, right? But anyway, if you're over on Patreon with us, share it over there. That's just fine. You can share your links over there. And if you're not with us on Patreon, I'd love to have you. It's a great community. You're a great community on YouTube too, but it's even better on Patreon, believe it or not. And it costs a whole $1 a month, and you'd like it. You'd like being over there. And so the link is right down below, so join us. Now let's get, after all that visiting, which I enjoy doing with you all. You know, one of the best comments that I got, that, like I said, overnight, said, I just love getting up and having coffee with you. What a great deal that's. Let me have a sip, and then let's talk about some monsters, shall we? Do you remember the monsters that lived under your bed when you were little? Right, yeah. And those monsters made you afraid, right? You couldn't come out from underneath your covers. You couldn't let a hand or a foot get over the edge of your bed, or they would grab you, you know. And they scared you into freezing in your position. And you felt like there was nothing you could do. You couldn't even yell for mom or dad, because that would let the monster know you were awake, right? Yeah, well, I don't know if your if your recollections are the same as mine, but those are my recollections. Well, where did those monsters really live? Did they live under your bed? Did you ever get out of bed and go down there and look? Now, as we got older, I think there actually were a couple of times that I got up and I looked under there, and no monsters. Just a bunch of junk that I'd kicked under the bed when I was supposed to be cleaning up my room, right? No monsters. But, and then I realized, we don't realize this until later, but the monsters, there weren't any monsters in my bed. They didn't live in my bed. They lived in my head, right? Well, there are monsters out there now. Fear monsters, Well, we would call them fear mongers, but really what they are is fear monsters. And they are having an effect on a lot of people who are interested in preparedness. Now, I don't know if they're having any influence on you or not, but they are. And just like the monsters that weren't under your bed, the monsters of preparedness, the fear monsters, are the things telling you that things are scary. Things are scary, things are horrible. Well, let me say right off, things are not horrible, and they're not scary. Don't be afraid. Fear not, right? And I've said this repeatedly. And so, because I know that a lot of people here have a biblical background. Sadly, some of the fear monsters wrap their stuff in biblical stuff too. And that's wrong. They should not do that. And they're doing that for money and clicks and everything else. And they're actually harming people, because when you make people afraid, you you put them in a situation to where they can't think clearly and they can't act properly and productively. Okay, you need a clear eye to be able to address a problem, and if you're just scared, you're not going to be able to address it as well as you could otherwise, right? So, as I always say, uh, the Bible 365 times says, do not be afraid. Do you think that maybe that means you shouldn't be afraid? That's right. Juxtapose that with one of my favorite verses, and that is, this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Now, how do those things work together? You're not supposed to be afraid. You are supposed to be joyful. And how can you be joyful when there's problems whirling around you? Well, one of the first things is, of course, to let God lead you in these things and give it up to Him. And doesn't mean you don't do stuff. You do what He tells you to, okay? But you see the world for what it is. And you see the world as a big collection of challenges. You know, when I used to teach martial arts, one of the as the people went through the system, at each level they learned new targets on which a target is a place that you can access on your opponent or your attacker or your enemy or whatever, and do damage to them. You know, anything from momentary, backup to, you know, to the end. And as they learned more and more targets, I said, now, when you are confronted with an adversary, whether it's in no holds barred fighting or a real street attack or a real world encounter, um, you're not going to see that opponent or enemy as a big scary monster. You're going to see them as just a big stack of targets. And when your mind gets to that point, and you can go target, 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 I can do this to that, I can do this to that, I can do this to that, I can do this to that. Guess what? You're not afraid anymore. And now, as a result of the knowledge that you have and the abilities that you've developed, you're able to take care of that big, scary thing that's not big and scary anymore. So you should not be afraid. You should learn, and you should develop, and you should prepare. Triple G, who is one of our great commenters, comments. I think this one he put on the YouTube channel on last night's. Although he's an important guy with us over on the Patreon channel. He said, "Out earn the problem." You know, for those people who are always, for those fear monsters who are always trying to tell you that the economy is collapsing and that you should buy gold, and that a depression is coming and a recession's here and blah, 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 and they go, oh, it's bad, folks. Oh, it's bad. Well, Triple G said, and he said this before, but it reminded me because he said it again last night, and that is out earn the problem. If you have, and that, one of the things I'm going to post this, the one that I'm going to post as a link on the Patreon channel. One of the things you're going to hear this woman say is that they didn't have any cash. They didn't have any reserve cash. And she suggested that you have $200. Now she says, now that seems a lot to us because we are paycheck to paycheck. And we don't ever have anything left over. And let me say very kindly, if you're in that situation, you can and you should elevate yourself from that, because that is a real dangerous place to be. I tell people, don't live at the edge of your money, or the edge of the gas in your gas tank, or the edge of anything. You want to have prepared enough that you are well insulated for whatever happens in the world. So, like Triple G said, out earn the problem, and that is the solution to a lot of things. You know, the people that like to tell you that, and they tell you this as a way of excusing their, you know, their financial limitations, shall I say, and they try to kind of, you know. So it's a way of defending poverty, to be honest. They don't have much, and so they say, they try to make that sound good, not having, you know. And one of the things that they use, and again, they try to base it on the Bible, and as so often happens, they misinterpret it, and then they mislead others. Don't let that happen to you. And they say that money is the root of all evil. That's not at all what the Bible says. Did you know that? You've probably heard that, and I know a lot of you out there, you know that. But that's not what the Bible says. Do you know what it says? Well, it depends on which translation you go to is exactly, but it says money is the root of all kinds, or I'm sorry, the love of money. Doesn't say money. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. You see, so it's not the money, it's the love of it, which means putting it ahead of everything else. And then all kinds of evil. It doesn't say all evil either. Because the love of money is not the cause of sex crimes or of immorality, is it? No, it's not. So you have to get this right. It is not money is not the root of all evil. As a matter of fact, just like they say, violence is not the answer. Violence is often the answer. When you're met with violence, a violent response is usually what's going to get you out of that. Okay, and many times money is the thing that gets you out of a challenging position. Okay, your brakes go out. Well, that's why you need to learn how to fix your own brakes. Okay, what are you going to use for money to go buy the pads and the rest of the things you need? Okay, it comes down to money. Most things. To stock the food that you need, to get the water system that you need, to get the water purifiers that you need, to get the defense items that you need, to get a proper shelter that you need. Okay, all of these things take money. There is nothing evil about money. What evil is the love of money. So don't let these people mislead you with improperly quoted and misunderstood Bible verses. Okay, so that. So back to this lady, she's saying, "Boy, $200, that's a lot." Elevate yourself from that, and you've heard me talk about that a lot. One of the in my first book, it's in the first chapter, when Jim Wyatt is pedaling home on his bicycle. He got caught miles away from home. Everything crashed, so he's getting home, and he's getting closer to home, thinking about, he's getting closer to Stone Mountain. And one of the things that he said, he felt fortunate that, not lucky, but fortunate, because I get a lot of people come on here and say, well, you're lucky. You're so lucky to live the way you do. Nah, I worked my ass off to get here. And you can too if you decide to, but many won't. But Jim, he's thinking, he's pedaling, he's thinking about, how fortunate they are to live at Stone Mountain. And he said simply, one of his thought was, he and Kelly had worked hard and been smart with their money. So that was one thing that this young lady making this video did. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people in the preparedness world do not think about the importance of increasing your income. Okay. And that's what Triple G was saying, out earn. He didn't say out save, out earn the problem. Now I'll say something else, and I'll add this, and out learn it. Out earn and out learn the problem. If you have the knowledge and you have the resources to address a problem, it doesn't become a problem. I mean, it doesn't become a very bad one, right? And it doesn't stay a problem. But too many people, and sadly in the preparedness world, they kind of hold on to this, proud of my poverty of thing. Don't be proud of poverty. Don't be proud of just making it. Understand that you can do better than that, and you should do better than that. And the more better you do, not only are you going to be in better shape, but you're going to be able to help other people more too. And that's the true essence of preparedness, is not to let the catastrophes of the day knock you down to where you are down and out. So the lesson today is that, just like those monsters under your bed, the fear monsters out there who are trying to make you afraid and keep you afraid, the only power that they have is in your mind. Because they're not telling you the truth. They're telling you things to make you click and and stay addicted to the fear. Because did you know it's a psychological principle? I learned this way back when I was majoring in psychology. That people are attracted to the things they fear. That's an interesting psychological thing. It is. People are actually attracted to the things they fear. Don't ask me to go into an explanation of that. It'd take a long time, but just realize that. And ask yourself, if you're being sucked into this fear porn, these fear monsters, because of an attraction that is developed through that fear. Yeah, I know it's a weird one, but it's true. So that's the lesson today while we drink our coffee, is that they're only as real. Your fears are only as real as you make them. And if you address them and you stand up and see things with a clear eye and don't allow people to sway you, who have it in their best interest and your worst interest to keep you afraid, if you're trapped in that, get out. And if you can get out, get it, and then every day, make every day a positive day. One foot in front of the other, one step after another, constant forward progress. Do something every day, whether it's add a little bit to your supplies, add a little bit to your knowledge, add a little bit to your skills. Every day is the way. And you should be better every day than you were the day before. And I'll tell you, something comes out of that is a great sense of peace and calm, and the knowledge that you're headed in the right way. And don't forget that the one you want leading your journey is the good Lord himself. He's never going to lie to you. He doesn't want you to be afraid. Remember, 365 times he told you, do not be afraid. One for every day. Okay? Let those other people go around through life being fearful. Don't you? And if I could ask you this, and it meant so much to me last night, or this morning when I woke up and I read all the comments, it meant so much to me that these videos have actually meant so much to so many of you. When we just sit here and we talk at the camera, we're not really sure if we're getting through or making a dent or whatever, but I guess I am. And that's what I'm here for, and I'm glad. So not only get rid of that, but share this. If you have people that you know who succumb to this fear porn, it's porn. Share this with them, and maybe it can help them. Bring them on over here. Let's talk about living positively. We talk about at the end of every one, we prepare well today. in order to live well tomorrow. But integrative preparedness doesn't just mean that we're just fixing to live well tomorrow. It means that everything we do not only prepares us to live well tomorrow, but improves our lives today, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Let one of the things you do every day is read the Bible or listen to something online. And by the way, I'm re-upping American Revival. So if you want to hear my political take on things, which I keep out of here, join us over on American Revival. I think it's still it's down in the comments down there, or not in the comments, but in the information box. I think it still says American Reversion, but I've switched the name of it to American Revival because I think we're in a revival. All the fear, all the fear monsters want to tell you it's all terrible. I don't think it is. I think things are getting better, and so it's American Revival. I'll get that fixed. So join us over there. And if you want to talk politics, there, the way of the world. So I think that's what I wanted to say today. Be positive. Enjoy the life the good Lord gave you. Understand your responsibility in it to do better every day so that you're not just doing it for you, but you can help other people too. Because that's what we're all here for, right? Okay. Y'all have a good day. Remember to make sure you subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're there. And share it. And then remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I'll talk to you, I would bet, tomorrow.